Looking for Alaska is the first novel of the king of young adult literature, John Green. It must be an exciting, engaging and mysterious journey for the readers throughout the novel. Accumulating some books as mind-blowing as Looking for Alaska will be compelling, but at the same time searching for the right book could be exhausting. So, if you love this book and look for similar books like it, we will share with you 11 books similar to Looking for Alaska. Before that, we want to share a short summary of Looking for Alaska with you. Looking for Alaska Summary. The story is about a boy named Miles Halter from Florida who has no friends and is bored of his friendless life. He has low expectations of his own life and his school friends. Miles Pudge Halter decides to join Culver Creek boarding school for his high school. Here he meets Colonel, Takumi, and beautiful girl Alaska, and all of them come from different backgrounds. Under their wings, Miles learned the social life of Culver Creek, mischief-making, smoking cigarettes, and drinking. They also have to avoid the Eagle, the dean of Culver Creek, and also in charge of giving punishment and peer jury. The squad went to a triple date. Miles with Lara, the Colonel with Sarah, and Alaska with her boyfriend, Jake. Miles, Colonel, Takumi, Alaska, and Lara pull a crazy prank on both of the Eagle and Weekday Warriors. They hack into the school's computer system to fake progress reports. Later, the squad had alcohol in Alaska's room. She got a phone call from Jake, who told her that today is their anniversary. Alaska freaks out and rushes off campus, driving her car while drunk. The following morning, all students are announced that Alaska has died in a horrifying car crash. Miles and Colonel can't believe what just happened and followed with guilt all over their feelings. Miles, Takumi, Colonel, and Lara try to find the reason behind their friend's mysterious death. Is it just a car crash or a pre-planned murder? Can they solve the mystery? Read one of the best young adult fiction books of 2005, Looking for Alaska. Here we list 11 more books similar to Looking for Alaska, either written in the same genre or written by authors like John Green. Paper Towns, by John Green. Paper Town is a story of Quentin Jacobson, his adventure, and his neighbor, his secret love, Margot Roth Spiegelman. As children, they discover a dead man's body in the park. It was an event that united them in ways that they did not realize at the time. 9 years later, at the age of 18, Margot jumps to Quentin's window in the middle of the night. With black paint on her face. She asked him to go along with her to quote some problems she has with her ex-boyfriend and her ex-best friend. The Perks of Being a Wallflower, by Stephen Chbosky. It follows the story of a 15-year-old boy named Charlie. He is just starting high school, and he is very socially awkward. In high school, he meets a boy called Patrick, a couple of years older than him, and becomes fast friends with him and his stepsister Sam. The whole book is about him experiencing having friends for the second time in his life, coming out of his shell, and living like a teenager. The Perks of Being a Wallflower book also presents a view of high school's social structures in a very refreshing way. Eleanor is the new girl in town. Born with bright red hair and crazy clothes. Park is half Korean. He knows he fits in more than Eleanor. Both of these teens feel out of place until something magical happens. Two misfits are waking up to find that the person they sit next to on the butt, the person sharing their comics, might be the person they love. The phrase falling in love is no joke. That's what Eleanor and Parker does so well. It makes you feel the falling, the crash of realization, the rush of joy that comes from seeing yourself through other eyes and realizing that you're a wonder, that you're worthy of being loved. All the Bright Places, by Jennifer Niven. Theodore Finch is about to jump off the bell tower. So is Violet Markey. Through the circumstances that compel them both to commit suicide are very difficult. For Finch, it's mental illness, for Violet, it's the loss of her sister. The two teens discover that they have a lot in common. All the Bright Places is a Finch and Violet story. It's a story about the way, even when life seems so terribly dark, you can still find surprisingly bright places. Although Finch and Violet's bright places initially seem like physical locations, the true bright spot for each of them, of course, is the place they find in each other's lives. The way the brightness saves them both, at least for a time. The Fault in Our Stars, by John Green. The Fault in Our Stars is a story about a 16-year-old girl, Hazel, who has cancer. When she was diagnosed with cancer, people thought she would die, but through medical miracles, she survived, and she is now in a cancer support group. Hazel meets Augustus Waters in the cancer support group, and he falls in love with Hazel. From the beginning, Hazel and Augustus become close with each other, which leads to a romantic relationship. They both experience some great adventure of their life together. However, the story leads to a tragic event at the end with a deep message of life. We Were Liars, by E. Lockhart. This is a story about Cadence, a member of the Sinclair family, a rich and powerful family on the East Coast. Cadence spends every summer with her family, extended family, and grandparents on their private island. However, her family is somewhat broken, as her father left her and her mother, her two aunts are divorced, and her grandmother has since passed away. Although Cadence doesn't see her cousins throughout the year, they seem to pick up right where they left off when they return to the island each summer. She's particularly close with her cousins, Mirren and Johnny, and family friend, Dat, and calls the group the Liars. She develops feelings for Dat on the island when she is 15, but then she suffers a head injury and can't remember much from that summer. The Catcher in the Rye, by J. D. Salinger. Two main things are going on in The Catcher in the Rye. 1. Holden Caulfield, the main character, is having a mental breakdown. 2. Holden Caulfield is struggling with having to grow up. This book is full of angst, disgust, confusion, depression, moodiness, anxiety. This book also explains why Holden's mode alternates between happiness and regret, confidence and fear, euphoria and despair. Similarly, Holden feels caught between two worlds, the innocence of childhood and the corruption of adulthood. He was also caught between two mental stages. The Catcher in the Rye is one of the similar books to read if you like looking for Alaska. The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, by Sherman Alexie. Junior, the main character in Sherman Alexie's book The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, doesn't waste any time telling you how different he is. I was born with water on the brain, he says in the first sentence of his story. But Junior doesn't want you to think of him as handicapped. Junior actually spends the entire story trying to prove that he can be anything he wants to be, no matter how different he is. Unfortunately, for Junior, the odds are stacked against him. Not only he has a fragile head, but also he's a Native American, he's dirt poor, and he's about to suffer more tragedies in life than anyone should have to endure a lifetime. The Outsiders, by S.E. Hinton. The Outsider is a story about three brothers who lived together after their parents were killed in an accident. Derry, the oldest of all brothers, works as a roofer. Sodapop, the middle child, works at a gas station and is handsome by his looks. Ponyboy, the youngest of all brothers, is a smart kid and trying to grow up. They live in a society that is divided in two. The Greasers, who are the society's poor kids, wear leather jackets and oil their hair. The Socials are the rich kids who have nice cars and clothes. These two groups are always fighting with each other. The story tries to explain the problematic relationship between two brothers, Ponyboy and Derry, as the central conflict, that these two brothers hate each other. However, readers will find that his conflict with Derry is weak and forced. Rather, Ponyboy's realization that both Greasers and Socks are just regular people is noteworthy. This is something that all readers can take away, no matter what age. Society likes to classify who we are and compartmentalizes us into categories and groups. And while those groups may be important in economic and census studies, the people in those groups become identityless. Divergent, by Veronica Roth. Divergent is set in a society that is divided up into 5 factions. There is abnegation, the selfless, dauntless, the brave, candor, the honest, erudite, the intelligent, amity, the peaceful. Beatrice Pryor, also known as Triss, is in abnegation, and it's coming up the choosing ceremony where once you are 16 years of age, you choose whether you want to stay in your faction or move to another one. The Book Thief, by Marcus Zusak. The Book Thief is about a 9-year-old girl, Liesel Meminger, who lives with her foster parents on Himmel Street, Nazi, Germany. Liesel suddenly falls in love with books and starts stealing them. The main theme of The Book Thief is the power of words. It shows that words and stories are the most powerful ways to connect people together. Without a doubt, this is one of the novels like Looking for Alaska. Are you still looking for similar books like Looking for Alaska? If you have any recommendation regarding this topic, feel free to mention below. We highly appreciate your viewpoints.